couple of weeks ago, I covered a creepypasta that got famous that was particularly terrible, that of course being Sonic.exe, which follows a guy finding a haunted version of the original Sonic game, which kills off each famous characters from the game in increasingly gruesome ways. Now, that wasn't the only terrible Sonic-based creepypasta that rapidly blew up in popularity in the early 2010s. No, there was another one that was even worse, that even makes Sonic.exe look good. That of course being... Since the story is so short, I think it would be best if I just read through the whole story with some insertions with my thoughts on what happens within it, as I think while the vast majority of people know that there was a creepypasta written about it, I don't think the vast majority of people have actually read it. So here it goes. Gil and his friend Noah were looking for games for their Sega Saturn at EB Games when they came across Sonic R. Gil was going to ask how much it was, but when he got to the counter, the salesperson said to them to take the game for free and get out. When Noah heard the salesperson say, "Take the game with you," he dropped the games he was looking at and ran over to Gil. "Did he say we could have the games for free?" he asked. Gil was going to shake his head no when the salesperson interjected and said yes. Noah grabbed Gil by his arm and pulled them out of the store and to his house. And for my first interjection, of course the story starts off with the cliche started by Ben Drowned, that of course being some sort of creepy old person or salesperson giving the main characters of the game for free without actually explaining what's wrong with it in the first place. I really dislike this cliche because it would just never happen in the first place. No guy is going to act that strange or weird when it comes to giving something away. It's too suspicious or weird, and if someone did that to me, I would not take the game. It's just way too suspicious for someone to act that way. It just doesn't make sense for someone to behave that way, and it's just not how human beings behave, and the dialogue is also super unrealistic and laughable. Now, let's continue. When they got to Noah's house, Noah got a Sega Saturn and Sonic R and put the game in. When the game started, they didn't see Sonic or Knuckles, they only saw what looked like Tails. Noah just thought it was a glitch, or that someone hacked it, but Gil knew it was more than a glitch or a hacked game, something much more evil. The first thing they noticed when Noah started the first race was that the track was fully dark red and black, and the music that was playing was Can You Feel the Sunshine, but played backwards. Noah thought it was a hack, but Gil thought the game was haunted. And he did not think that their copy was the only haunted version of the game. He thought all of the versions were haunted by Tails. When Noah beat the first race, he unlocked Super Sonic. Gil knew that Noah didn't get all the 7 Chaos Emeralds, but Noah didn't question how he got him. But he did stand up and cheered for himself. "How did you unlock him so quickly?" asked Gil. "I don't know," Noah screamed excitedly. Why are you questioning it, Gil? Something feels weird about this game, Gil said. The game feels haunted or something. You've been watching too many horror movies, Noah said. You know I don't watch that stuff, Noah, Gil replied. Noah finished his second race with Supersonic when the game said a challenger was approaching, and when the challenger approaching, the screen faded away. The screen faded to black and stayed black for about 2 minutes. It then cuts to a picture of Sonic being violently attacked by what looked to be a stuffed animal versions of Tails with very loud screaming and laughter for a split second, and then it went to the race. And for my second interjection, this part made me laugh due to just how stupid and overdone this aspect of the story is. The background music has been done to death in horror, and for it to actually be scared, it has to be done in an original way, which this does not, instead copying the story beat almost exactly from Sonic.exe, which is the exact same scare that this one does. It also rips the story beat of Sonic being killed by the Tails doll from Sonic.exe as well, which does the exact same scare when Sonic kills Tails. This makes me wonder why someone would rip off an already bad story and expect it to be any better, but the answer is pretty obvious why. It's because Sonic.exe was just so popular that this creator wanted to cash in on that success. And in all honesty, their plan worked, as I have actually heard of this story, and it's fairly popular, of course for all the wrong reasons now. And it continues with the really hokey dialogue that's, once again, literally no one talks like. It explains every single piece of context that we need, and it's kind of just over-explaining everything. It's essentially repeating itself over and over again, and it just seems like it's just trying to tread out the length. But let's continue. When the race started, Supersonic was standing on the track by himself after the ready, set, go was said. Supersonic started to move by himself. Gil looked over to Noah and saw that his hands weren't on the controller, and as soon as Supersonic crossed the finish line, Noah was able to control him, and what looked like Tails was right behind him. When Supersonic and Tails crossed the finish line, it looked like Tails won, but it said Supersonic won. That's when it said they unlocked the Tails doll, and the Tails doll cursed. When this happened, Noah and Gil looked very confused. Is that a letter? Noah asked Gil, and all Gil could do was nod his head. Noah went to play as the Tails doll when the letter opened up. Okay, this is just a personal pet peeve of mine, but I think the usage of the title within this story is extremely lame and unscary to me. And I think it would be much more creepy if the scene would have just ended with the Tails doll being unlocked. It would have added an extra layer of mystery to what's going on rather than explain that they are quite literally now cursed by the game. Whatever you do, don't read that letter, Gil warned Noah. But Noah didn't listen and read it anyways. What it read was, "Can you feel the sunshine?" lyrics backwards. When Noah was done, the TV started to vibrate. Noah took a hammer and started to hit the TV with it. The TV stopped vibrating. "I stopped the TV from vibrating," Noah said. "Yes, but how do we play the game now?" Gil said. "I have a TV in my room," Noah said as he unplugged the system from the now broken TV and wall. "You do know that your mom and dad are going to kill you for breaking the TV," Gil said. "I know," Noah said, "but it was worth it." Okay, so this is so over the top and ridiculous that it's hilarious. Why would your first reaction to hearing a song be to smash the damn TV? Not one person would behave in that way. It's super unrealistic and so overdramatic that there's no way for me to take this seriously. They went up the stairs to Noah's bedroom, and when they got to Noah's bedroom, the broken TV started to vibrate again, and then the Tails doll came out. Noah and Gil were now playing a different game because of what happened. They were playing Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast when the doorbell rang. Noah and Gil went to answer the door. When they opened it, no one was there. Noah closed the door when the doorbell rang again. Noah opened the door, and no one was there again. He closed the door, but kept his hands on the door. The doorbell rang again, and Noah opened the door as fast as he could, but no one was there. The only thing that was there was a Tails doll. And this is about the point where I knew this story was completely unsalvageable. It does the exact same plushie scare that was used in Sonic.exe, a scare that I hated in that story and hate here. It is just not frightening, and it's frankly laughable in every single way. But let's continue with this obviously terrible story. Noah brought it inside the house and washed what looked like blood off of it in the kitchen sink. When he washed the blood off, he set it up in front of a couple dishes to dry and went upstairs. That's when the Tails doll stood up and flew off the counter and onto the floor. He then walked up the stairs and he flew up them. Then he went to Noah's bedroom. Gil then felt like they were both being watched by something evil. "Hey Noah, do you feel like we're being watched?" Gil asked Noah. "Are you sure you don't watch horror movies?" Noah asked Gil. Of course, I'm sure, Gil said. I have to go to the bathroom, Gil said. As he walked to the bathroom, he saw something out of the corner of his eyes. It looked like a Tails doll, so he turned towards his left and didn't see anything. He looked to his right and didn't see anything. Then he thought it was his imagination and went to the bathroom. When he was going back to the bedroom, he saw something move, so he went to go see what it was. He then saw it move again and walked towards it. Gil saw the Tails doll and walked over to pick it up and bring it to the room. When he brought it up and showed Noah, Noah asked Gil, "Where did you find it?" "I found it by the stairs," Gil said. "I thought I left it in the kitchen." "Anyway, let's play Sonic R again," Noah said. "Don't you remember what happened before?" Gil replied. And to interject again, this scare is still not scary. It's just them finding the bloody Tails doll again. It wasn't spooky the first time, and wasn't the second. You also may not be able to tell, as I've edited the story a little bit to make it more coherent, but there's spelling errors and grammar issues everywhere within the story, this paragraph especially being horribly written. But let's continue. "Yeah, so?" Noah said. "So do you want to kill your TV too?" Gil said. "That was a freak accident," Noah said as he put the game in the Sega Saturn. He then played the tag game as the Tails doll, and as soon as he tags the last person, the Tails doll that was in the room came to life. Noah and Gil both stood up and walked towards the door. Noah opened it as they both ran as fast as they could down the stairs and almost got to the front door when the Tails doll fell in front of them and killed Noah with his razor-sharp claws. This made Gil very angry, and he grabbed a baseball bat and started swinging at the Tails doll, each hit missing. He swung it one last time before the Tails doll caught it and broke it. I could just not stop laughing while reading this section for the first time. Like, how can anyone take this seriously? There's no way any sane person reads this and finds this frightening. It feels like a strange attempt at an action sequence and just doesn't make any sense. This ending feels extremely rushed and so over the top that I don't know how this story gained any sort of popularity in the first place, like genuinely. Gil then stepped on its head and ran to the kitchen to get one of the kitchen knives and swung at the doll again. The Tails doll caught it again and killed Gil. The Tails doll went back into the upstairs TV. The police then came to the house because the neighbors called saying they heard a noise coming from Noah's house. When they got there, Noah and Gil were both upstairs in Noah's bedroom. One of the police officers took the Sega Saturn to the station and his partner said that there was no murder weapon. And that is the Tails doll curse. And before giving my full opinions on the story, I want to know what your thoughts on it, because I think it's terrible. And let me know in the comments down below. And to summarize my thoughts really quickly, it's just awful. It has next to no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Half the story beats are taken directly from other stories, and the ones that aren't are so over the top and edgy that you cannot take them seriously. In its final state, it actually makes Sonic.exe seem like a more interesting story, and that's frankly impressive to me. So how this story got popular is honestly beyond me, and the fact that it fails this bad is what makes it so funny. It tries so hard to be intimidating in any way and fails at literally every aspect. It needs so much work that honestly, in order to make it work, the story would need a full rewrite and changing of every single story beat. The dialogue is abhorrent and unrealistic, as well as the action of the characters. The story just fails at every action it tries to present, and in all honesty, feels like someone wrote it in 15 minutes. And with all that being said, make sure that if you like this video to subscribe, and I'll see you all next week.